Chances are that you're seeing this video on your desktop PC or maybe on your laptop, and if you do have a life, maybe on your handheld device. And chances are that this handheld device comes from the same country as this bike. Now, Garware Motors in India has been slowly but steadily infusing Korean bikes in our market. Their last launch, the 650N for naked, was a considerable improvement over its fair sibling, the GT650R. So when we heard that Garware was to bring in the GT250R Comet to the Indian market, we were really excited. Along with the launch of the GT250R came back the name Comet. And that evoked lost memories and mixed reactions. Some of the fans swore by the name Comet, while others decided to move on with indifference. It stands to reason then that we need to find out if the legacy of the Comet is about to be restored to its final glory.
The GT250R has an interesting story to tell, and that involves possibly the oldest marketing debate of all, on whether small is beautiful or big better.
Many different countries and their economies have asked the same question before. Starbucks, the American giant coffee house chain, which is to be launched in India shortly, have recently launched a new supersized 920 milliliters of coffee cup. Now, to put things in perspective, an average human stomach size is 900 milliliters.
देख कैसा है मेरे भाई, मैं तेरे को बता रहा हूँ, ये फोन तो बहुत अच्छा है लेकिन कैसा स्क्रीन साइज छोटा है. So why don't you go for this bigger screen, bigger camera?
From Big Whooper to Big Mac to Mac Maharaja in India, big is often better.
अरे ये छोटा आम किधर लेता है, ये रत्नी का बड़ा आम लो.
तो फोल्ड हो जाएगा. अगर हम फोल्ड करते हैं तो ऑलमोस्ट अराउंड 700 का बूट स्पेस मिलता है.
बड़ा है तो बेहतर है.
बड़ा है तो बेहतर है.
Yes.
Agreed. All right.
चल, go ahead with this. Yeah.
We Indians want more bike for our money. And if you think about it, that's all fair. Because if it's a thing like a bike which can be flaunted to your friends, or if it's a thing that can be flaunted to your girlfriend, it better be big. The bike is big and the bike is sculpted. The Hyosung GT250R then is the biggest looking 250cc motorcycle. It's got the biggest wheelbase, it's got the biggest and the fattest rear tire in the class. It's also got the biggest looking fuel tank out there. But does it just look beastly and big, or can it also look beautiful? Well, if you ask me personally, the GT250R is a stunning looking motorcycle, and it doesn't matter if you disagree with me, because it would then mean you disagree with everybody on the streets. The kind of attention that you enjoy on this bike is as much as that of a celebrity.
But none of this is going to matter if this bike is plagued with the same problem which other Hyosung bikes have had so far, and that is vibrations. I'm so glad to say that this bike does not have the same problem. It does not have the same vibrations. So it's a really good thing. And the other thing I love about this bike is the fuel injection. The fueling is so good. I would say it's just as good, if not better, than its competitors. But you do miss the liquid cooling. As is the case with most traditional V-twin setups, the cylinder at the back does not get as much air, and so V-twins usually heat up. This bike also heats up a fair bit, especially in the city. But once you're on the move, you don't really feel the heat as much.
In the era where motorcycle manufacturers offer electronic packages like ABS and digital Diwali display on their bikes, the Hyosung GT250R doesn't even offer a peg to pull the stand down with. You have to raise the foot peg all the way back up to get the stand down. And even that doesn't work. And while every other bike is offering you a complex, lightweight underbody exhaust, Hyosung's is a stainless steel one and doesn't even come with a heat plate. And while most of the manufacturers are obsessed with putting their bike on a diet of mass centralization, Hyosung actually decided to make its 250 GT as big as the GT650R.
What I like the most about this bike, being a sports rider, is that it has a soul of a sport bike. The way you sit on it, the way you ride it, it always keeps you engaged as a sports bike does. I don't think it's possible to tour on this bike because the riding position is so super sport. This bike was made for the corner. That is its natural habitat.
It turns in quicker than the Kawasaki Ninja 250R.
Yeah, that's the crazy part because it is heavy. I mean, there's no arguing that, but it's really incredible how quickly the bike turns in.
On the heavier side, of course, if you compare it to the Honda CBR 250R. Now let's talk about the suspension.
I think the suspension, even though it's upside down, the rebound on the suspension is so high that you feel every single bump on the road.
Now, Roger, he was test riding this bike the other day, and we were riding right behind him, and we saw a huge tank slapper on his bike.
Yeah.
That rebound rate is so immense on this bike, it basically ups the possibilities of a tank slapper. Shinko tires, we are not disappointed with them. They're doing their job.
Yeah.
Daily, day-to-day riding, and for some decent cornering too.
No problem at all.
No problem at all. They're adequate. These are semi-floating disc brakes, not fully floating, but certainly for a dual disc setup, the bike should be braking a lot harder.
Yeah. Three things which I like the most about these bikes. The first thing has to be the exhaust note. The best sounding 250cc bike we have in India right now. Second thing I like about this bike is that the soul is super sport. It's like a mini sports bike. And thirdly, obviously the motor. I like the way the power is delivered.
I'm just glad that we have an option of a V-twin 250cc bike, given the option of a Kawasaki Ninja 250R, which is a very well-made motorcycle, most sold one in the world. It still isn't a dedicated, focused super sport machine. The CBR, on the other hand, is an out-and-out tourer, you might say.
Yeah.
It's a single-cylinder engine. So, once again, the question stands, given all those considerations and options, would you buy this bike?
I'll have to see how Hyosung prices it because I think it's very crucial. They have a good bike on their hands. I think it's very important for them to price it well because it's going against really good competitors. As a bike as a whole, I think this one suits me as a sports rider the best because it comes closest to giving me a sports riding experience. And for someone like me who's looking to upgrade to, let's say, a 600 or 1000cc bike, this is like the perfect platform. This will train me really well because the feel, the way you sit, the way you ride is in tune with a sports bike.
What about you, Roger? Will you buy this bike?
Absolutely, because it's very close to what I'm looking for. It's very aggressive in terms of looks, in terms of the riding capability, because whatever I was looking for to upgrade from an R15 to a bigger bike, this definitely gives me that feel, that aggression.
The irony of our market right now is that there is a big void in the super sport dedicated 250cc class category. And so a 250cc bike is just the natural progression from the R15. For that, this bike definitely is the consideration because there is no other one in the market. And given such circumstances, I would personally also go for the bike. What is it that we would want to be improved on this bike? To me personally, let's start with a peg on the stand, please. It should be easier to get a stand down. You should not always be searching and hassling with the stand. Improve the plastic quality at the instrument cluster. Play on the rear seat. If I move this, it makes this weird clicky sound, and the seat quality, that could be improved. Fix the rebound rate, and I'll be happy with the bike.
So I really think the next bike which comes out of Hyosung, they need to put in a little bit more effort when it comes to weight reduction. It kind of robs the engine of the actual power, the performance that you can extract out of it.